everyone, it's nice to see you again. I thought I'd put out another video because it's taken me a while to do the read alouds. I didn't take into consideration how long putting one chapter of my book out at a time would take, but you know, I'm doing what I can. And I have to let you know that I still am working off camera no matter how many videos are spaced out between time. And me spacing these videos out is because I'm busy. Eventually, the read alouds will be posted. I'm not gonna give y'all a date because it's taking me a long time to do this. In fact, today I actually missed an opportunity to record for the read alouds. So I'm taking this opportunity now to just talk to y'all for a little bit and just give you a hi, how you doing, you know? And once again, things have just been pretty normal around here. The same old, same old. Ain't nothing really that deep or anything that serious to talk about. We're about to finish up the last 3 episodes of Rave Master. Too bad that there's not a lot more animated from the manga, but you know, most of us that follow, well, I'm not one of the people that followed Rave Master in the past, but most of the people that followed Rave Master in the past, especially the anime, they know why certain parts weren't animated after a certain point. I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a hard time figuring out what to talk about because my only focus has been working on my art here lately. Obviously, everything outside of the children, you know. Because, you know, art is basically my thing to myself while everything else is me doing things for my family or, you know, just me experiencing things. So even though y'all may like my comics, just know that every time I'm working on my comics, it's actually my outlet and a thing that I do for myself as well as trying to, you know, put it out there for entertainment. I'm not gonna front. I am eventually trying to make money off of my art. I'm doing it for the sake of art, but I also want to monetize it because I don't want to, you know, drain my family of money because art is an expensive hobby, especially if you're buying expensive art supplies. And even if you're not, if you get enough cheap art supplies, that can rack up in price too. And with all these price tags being higher and increasing, even if you buy the cheap stuff, it's like a lot of money. Being a professional author and cartoonist has always been my dream. It's always been that. Which means in order for me to bring that to life, in some way, shape, or form, I need to monetize it. Because I'm not a kid anymore, you know? I can't just do things for the hell of it. I have to make it worth something. And I know some people may disagree and be like, you don't have to make it worth something. You should just do it for the love of it. And I do. Very much so. I am doing art because I love it. Art has gotten me through a lot of situations in my life. And it's probably going to get me through plenty more. I'm not taking away the importance of art itself. But I am trying to be practical about this. Because I've spent plenty of years trying to be a professional artist without, you know, anything coming of it. And since I'm in my 30s now, we're in April, which means my birthday just passed. My birthday's March 4th, which means now I am 32. And with me being 32, I have to start making things happen. See, when you're a kid, you have more than enough time to just dream and just imagine and put things together in your head, and you have ideas fed to you, and you can take in the information and form it in any way that you would like. And you can kind of like, you can lollygag, you can take your time and not catch any consequences for that. But when you're an adult, you need to make things happen. Which is why when young people become adults, their parents are like, what are you going to do with your life? Okay, that's fine, but what practical thing are you going to do in the meantime until you can follow your dreams? Yeah, we do have the parents that just discourage you from your dreams altogether. And, they put you down and are like, no, you can't be a rock star. It's not profitable. Go do something else. Be a doctor, lawyer, firefighter, work in some other part of the medical field, work somewhere in the government. Be somewhere practical where you can actually make a change and see that change happen. Because there are people who will force you to be practical, and because life requires monetary material to keep going, I gotta find a way to make money from my art. And like I said, I don't want to sit up here and lie to y'all and act like I'm this old holier than thou person. I don't need money. No, I'm not that dumb. Like, I mean, my husband makes the money, but still, we still are living in a society where you basically need two incomes to survive, or to at the very least be comfortable, or at very most, which however way you look at it. So yeah, I am eventually going to create a product that you can choose to buy or choose to just leave it. I mean, if you can't pay for it, or if you don't want to pay for it, I have plenty of free options to where you can look at my work if you care that much. It is your decision. So I'm working on the read alouds, I'm working on the magazine, I'm working on comics in general. Everything's just kind of backed up right now. I feel stuck, like my life is at a pause. You know how you be playing a video game and you're just stuck on that one level and you feel like you've tried everything. You even looked at every little detail. You tried to find every item in the level or whatever, and you're still stuck there. That's how I feel right now. There's just a lot of things that I have to do in my life, art-based and non-art based, where it's just piling up. So instead of letting everything stress me out, I'm gonna enjoy my time with you guys and talk to you. It's always good to have somebody to talk to, especially when, especially when you're a person that has to take care of kids most of the time. Like, you can talk to your kids, but most of the time when you're talking to your kids, you're teaching them lessons. You can't really talk to them about adult-based things and expect them to fully understand what you're talking about. And even some adults won't understand you depending on where your ideas lie in the world. Because, there's always those people in the world that the majority sees as crazy. So even when you're an adult, you're going to have a hard time finding people to understand you. But I would never want to put pressure on my kids to solve my mental health problems. So as a mother, whenever I'm interacting with my children, I want to, teach them lessons and just create a sense of security for them. That is my job, to be that person they can run to when they don't feel sure of things, because that's how I was with my parents. Whenever I didn't feel sure of anything, I called my dad on the phone, or I just walked in mom's room and talked to her about things. So that's what I want to be for my kids. I'm not trying to be their friend. Don't get me wrong, I want them to know I love them. But I'm not trying to get so familiar with my kids that we forget what position we play. You know what I'm saying? And my girls now, they're still in their single digits for the most part. And I don't want to put that type of pressure on them. It is not their job to make sure that I'm mentally okay. And even when they're grown, it's still not their job to make sure that I'm mentally okay. I ain't never want to be that type of person to put that pressure on my kid. You got to take care of me because all the stuff you done put me through when I was raising you, no. They didn't ask to be here. And there's tons of ways to not have children. So it's especially now. When we think about modern times, there's tons of ways to not have children. Okay? Because those things exist, those kids did not ask to be here. And even if those things didn't exist, you still have to put yourself in position to make a child. Unless it's forced upon you, God forbid. But you know. Yeah, even when they're grown, I do not expect them to come back and take care of me. I plan on putting some things in place so that I'm taken care of, even if, I mean, God forbid, of course. But, you know, if I get to the point where I need people to take care of me, I'll set that up. You know, I don't want them to, like, have to take care of me. Hopefully, my parenting is good enough to the point where they come by and check on me, say, hey, how you doing, mama? You know, see if I'm okay until my very last day on the planet. But, you know, it's not their job to, you know, be all up under me forever. I'm also not going to be that parent that's going to kick my kid out at 18. I feel like 18 is that time where you have to teach your child to be an adult. And since my kids are still in their single digits, I still have time to, like, fully understand the base of what they need for their independence as an adult. Because my situation is different. I was a sheltered child. So there's a lot of things that I still don't know. I don't even really mess around with finances like that. My husband takes care of everything finance-wise. There's a lot of things with money that I'm going to have to, like, learn so that I can give them at least a base idea of what they're going to have to deal with. And I guess as of now, my kids are kind of sheltered as well. But I'm trying to, like, stop with the sheltering a little bit and kind of give them a little bit more options. I'm not going to shelter them forever is what I'm saying. Which is why I'm trying to learn things now to teach them how to be independent. Even if I homeschool them the whole way, I'm still going to be actively teaching them these skills so that when they're an adult, they kind of know somewhat what they're supposed to be dealing with. Even though there's going to be a bit of a learning curve for me because things that I should have been doing back in the day when I first became an adult is probably switching now because of the technology and because of all the changes that are going on now that we're dealing with at the moment. So luckily I still have some time to learn all this stuff so that when they're grown I can teach them. But yeah, I feel like 18 is that time where you should, like, these are bills. This is how you should split your money. This is budgeting, you know. That's not the time to, like, kick your kid out and be like, you grown, you do what you want, you know. Personally, I would rather my children live with me until they got married, preferably. So that way we know they're good for a while. They have a place to stay. They can save their money. So even if anything was to happen to Rodamez and I, or, because, you know, God forbid, of course, but if anything was to happen to us, they would have a way to take care of themselves. When they're grown, I want them to experience life. I want them to enjoy their life, and I want them to come back and see me whenever they want to. It's not mandatory for them to come back, because I know how things are. You know, some people go no contact with their parents, and some people just get so caught up in their life that they just don't come back. And I have to prepare myself for these things now, because I'm 32 now. And I'm approaching that age where my eldest is getting close to getting middle school age. She's not there yet, but we're approaching there. And when I was worrying about school and how I was gonna get her her learning, she was an infant when I was thinking about this. Now she's almost reaching her double digits, which means eventually time's gonna fly by so fast where she and Leah will be adults. And I have to prepare myself for all possibilities because nobody knows the future. And what I want my girls to know is that they're loved and that I am trying to do everything that I can to give them their independence. And I'm trying to make sure they know a lot so that nobody tricks them. And I hope that they understand that when they're older, so that we're on the same page. As of now, I'm kind of cruising as a mom. Everything's just been wake up, do my routine, sleep, do it again. And eventually I'm going to have to start making some big decisions, and hopefully I make the right ones. And hopefully y'all are actually somewhat learning something from me as I'm making these videos, because I'm just reacting to y'all, or I'm just reacting in general. This isn't a thing where I'm like giving you a game plan or a syllabus and telling you have to do things a certain way. I don't want to do that. It's not my job to tell people what to do. And sometimes you don't need to learn things from people explaining things to you. Sometimes you can just look at what people do and go, you know what? That person did something wrong. I'm not going to do that. And if you can look at me and say, okay, Khadijah did this right. I agree with that. Khadijah did this wrong. I disagree with that. Then I've done my job. Even my comics. My comics are written for entertainment, but it is also written for you to learn a lesson from experiencing it. I'm not trying to blatantly put a lesson out there for you and make it preachy. Like, ew, nobody likes preachy shit. But I want you to learn from my work. So for one, remember that the comics and animations that I will put out in the near future are art. And what do you do with art? Interpret it in your own way. And how you interpret the art in front of you is determined by your previous experiences. You understand? So when you look at my art, you interpret it in the way that you take the information in, and then you learn. But I do not want to blatantly tell you what the lesson is and always have some deep meaning. Because some things I just write for entertainment. Some things are just goofy as fuck. And sometimes you just need to turn your brain off and just relax. Because if you don't have that material that's going to wind you down a bit, you're going to go crazy. Every form of art is not supposed to be deep and profound. And everything in my art is not solely based on my thoughts and opinion. Because I do research from videos, I do research from books, I do research from experiences, and some things that I observe are not of me. So there are going to be some things in my comics that are not my beliefs at all. And I do not want any confusion when it comes to that. Everything that I put in my comics are meant for you to feel the story. It is not meant to be a syllabus or anything. It's not supposed to make you think any kind of way. It is art. You sit there, you take it in, and you interpret it, and move on. Maybe you come back to it, maybe you don't, but that's how it's supposed to go. I love you all. This video has run very long. And I got to get back to doing everything that I normally do. And hopefully I can post more for y'all. There should be a lot more videos in between now and the time I post the read alouds. I'm not going to give you a date for when I post the read alouds. I'm just going to post them. So stay tuned to my channel. I'll see you all later. Bye for now.